Charlie Kirk is gone. But the movement he built is not. In a single moment, everything changed. Charlie Kirk, America's most controversial youth activist and founder of Turning Point USA, was assassinated on a Utah college stage. Loved and hated, his impact on politics is undeniable. This is the story of the legacy he left behind. Charlie Kirk rose from student activist to founder of Turning Point USA, a group that reshaped conservative youth organizing in the U.S. By his early 30s he was a constant presence on college campuses, on TV, and on social media. He began as a teenage activist, founding Turning Point USA with a simple goal: to ignite conservative ideas on college campuses. At just 18 years old, Kirk launched the organization from his parents' basement with little more than determination, a laptop, and a vision. Within a decade, his network reached hundreds of schools, pushing issues like free speech, gun rights, and religious values into the mainstream. His strategy: viral internet debates, massive rallies, and relentless controversy, making him both a hero and a lightning rod for criticism. Turning Point USA became the centerpiece of Kirk's influence. What started as a handful of student clubs quickly turned into one of the most recognized conservative youth organizations in America. The group received millions in donations from wealthy backers, organized massive annual conferences in cities like Phoenix and Tampa, and built media platforms that rivaled mainstream outlets. Kirk's ability to merge grassroots activism with professional-level branding made him stand out in the crowded world of political advocacy. Kirk's strength was recruitment and spectacle. He turned viral clips into campus chapters, into voter drives, into political power. His events drew thousands of students who wanted not only to listen, but to belong. For many young conservatives, Turning Point became their entry point into politics. Kirk understood that movements thrive on culture as much as on policy, and so he gave his followers a lifestyle, a community, and an identity. But Kirk's rise wasn't without fierce opposition. His outspoken views on LGBTQ+ rights, abortion, and climate change sparked heated debates nationwide. Critics accused him of spreading misinformation, oversimplifying complex issues, and fueling division. Student protests frequently erupted at his events, with campuses often split between those demanding his cancellation and those demanding his right to speak. For his supporters, this resistance only proved his point, that conservative voices were being silenced. For his critics, he became a symbol of the growing polarization in American politics. By the early 2020s, Charlie Kirk was more than an activist, he was a media personality. His podcast ranked among the top in political commentary, his tweets regularly stirred national headlines, and his appearances on Fox News and other networks made him a household name. Love him or hate him, Kirk understood the new political battlefield, not just Congress, not just elections, but the algorithm-driven war for attention. On September 10, 2025, that battle ended abruptly. Charlie Kirk was fatally shot while speaking at an event at Utah Valley University. The attack was shocking not only for its violence, but for its brazenness, a sniper's bullet from a nearby rooftop, as thousands watched in horror. Phones recorded everything. The footage spread instantly across social media, replayed millions of times in just hours. The nation was stunned. Supporters mourned a fallen leader, while critics grappled with the reality of political violence hitting at the heart of America's divided landscape. The shooting ignited urgent conversations about safety, extremism, and the future of activism in the U.S. Federal and local authorities launched a fast-moving investigation. Investigators recovered a bolt-action rifle believed to be the weapon used. Photos and video of a person of interest were released within hours. The FBI opened a public tip line, offering a large reward for information. Speculation ran wild. Was this politically motivated? The act of a lone wolf? Or something larger? For now, uncertainty only fuels the fire. If you want more deep dives like this, quick, researched and unfiltered, hit subscribe and drop your thoughts below. The aftermath was as intense as the crime itself. Leaders across the political spectrum condemned the assassination, warning that America stood on the edge of a dangerous new chapter. Even those who fiercely disagreed with Kirk's positions recognized the attack as an assault on democratic discourse itself. At the same time, however, partisan rhetoric flared. Some sought to frame Kirk as a martyr for the conservative cause, while others accused his movement of contributing to the very divisions that may have inspired violence. The international reaction was just as sharp. Major outlets in Europe, Asia, and Latin America covered the assassination extensively, calling it a sign of America's deepening instability. Commentators abroad drew comparisons to the political violence of the 1960s, warning that if left unchecked, such incidents could become more frequent. In a world already watching U.S. politics closely, the murder of a high-profile activist reinforced the sense that America's internal conflicts were spilling over into dangerous territory. Despite the tragedy, Charlie Kirk's legacy lives on. He inspired thousands of young conservatives to step into the political arena, sparking a movement that continues beyond his death. Turning Point USA remains a powerful force, with staff, chapters, and donor networks still in place. The organization continues to shape debates on free speech, faith, and freedom, and it shows no signs of slowing down. For many, Kirk is a hero whose vision will endure. For others, his name will forever be tied to the deep divides challenging American democracy. Whatever the future holds, his impact is undeniable, and his story far from over. Kirk's legacy is twofold. Institutionally, Turning Point USA survives. It still commands resources, media access, and a loyal base of activists. Narratively, some will treat his death as martyrdom, a symbol that can harden movements and sharpen political messaging. That combination, organization plus myth, is what makes a legacy endure. And in history, martyrdom has often proven more powerful than leadership itself. Many questions remain: the motive, the full identity of the attacker, and how authorities will prosecute. The legal and social consequences are still unfolding. Yet even as investigators search for answers, one reality is already clear: Kirk's assassination will become a case study in how movements adapt when their leaders are suddenly taken. In the end, Charlie Kirk's story ended abruptly, but influence, institutions, and narratives don't die with one man. They evolve. And that evolution will matter in the politics to come. Whether remembered as a martyr, a polarizer, or simply as one of the most visible activists of his generation, Charlie Kirk leaves behind a legacy too large to be erased. His methods, his organization, and his controversies will shape America's political landscape for years to come. And history, as always, will decide the final verdict.